We are at Beacon Hill Country Park in the rain, as is now tradition for 2026, annoyingly. Bit of light drizzle, not heavy rain, but sort of quite nice actually to run in, because it'll cool you down, but it just means that all my kit's going to get wet, so a pain for me, but good for the runners, so I guess that's all right. We've got, I think, about 125-ish people out running around. Beacon Hill Country Park essentially is, the course is a big rectangle. You run up for a mile, you sort of go across for, I don't know, half a mile or whatever it is, and then you run down for a mile, and then you run across for about half a mile. That's effectively what the course is. The uphill is tough, but if it was shorter, it wouldn't really be that difficult. But it's the fact that it's a mile long, it really does make it go for a long time. So there's two guys that are out front that are really going for it and going pretty rapidly. And if they carry on at that pace for 6 hours, I'll be genuinely very impressed. They look like, to me, they're going at sort of like a half marathon pace, but I might be wrong. And that's the beauty of the events, is that you can go as hard or as fast as you want, and it's up to you. So if they want to, they might just be doing 2 laps really hard and then taking it easy, or I've got no idea. But also, I'm not fussed. They can do whatever they want to do. It doesn't make any difference to me or anybody else, but it is quite impressive how quick they're going. We've got a few dogs out as well. Yeah, so it's a good start. So hopefully I'll get some clips with people and I'll patch those in afterwards. It's just a bit of a drab day, which is annoying because we're in the middle of a week where the weather's sort of turned a little bit, but at least it's a bit warmer, so I'm not absolutely freezing today. So got to look for the positives. Look for the positives. What colour was your dog at the start?
Not even golden, he was bright white.
Bright white, excellent.
I think this is worse than when we did South Sea Forest, or no, even when we did country park. Yeah,
I think it's more zebra now. It's black and white.
Well, I call him like my half white, half grey wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. There's a lot of funny smells here. He likes to keep stopping, but we only run the second half. The first half, he goes all the way downhill.
Oh, really?
It goes, yeah, shooting down. Found quite a few. There's another running group out at the moment. So they were all saying, oh, look how beautiful he is.
Yeah.
But I forgot my gloves as well.
Oh my God.
So,
I thought my cleanup was bad. Oh my God.
We have ordered a mud daddy, one of those dog washers for him, but this will come till mid-March. Hopefully before the one in South Sea Forest.
Oh my gosh,
So,
right. But you're getting on right though?
Yeah. I haven't been here before, so...
Enjoying the hill?
Well, you know, it was called Beacon Hill, so I should have assumed there was a bit of the hill, but I mean, he's enjoying it, which is the important part. I don't think I'd be enjoying it so much if he weren't here, but he keeps a smile on his face, and I like being out here in the rain.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm not too hot anyway.
It's good. Just, what an image, what an image. Right, how have we got on today?
Good, lots of mud.
Yeah, it's quite muddy. How are your legs?
Yeah, not too bad.
No, they're not too bad. Some people have just come back like with a whole different colour, the bottom half of their legs. How far did you go?
Marathon today.
Marathon. Was that the plan?
Yep.
Time-wise, do you have any?
Just under 5 hours, pretty happy with it.
Yeah. Well, we were just discussing, like, it's hilly, right?
Very, very hilly.
Yeah. And weather-wise, not great?
Rained for about half of it, but half the fun as well.
Yeah. But it's been good, right?
Really good.
Excellent.
Another one done, definitely back for another one, so.
Good man. How have we got on today then, guys?
So we did 10 laps, 55 to 55k.
Because you'll catch up
So
with me.
yeah, happy with that.
Went round together the whole week, most point?
Yeah, we were egging each other on. We were being competitive, pushing each other. I'm never inviting him to another event.
Yeah.
So I did it last year and managed 9 laps in 6 hours 3. And I got the 9 laps in 5 hours 1 this time, and then managed to get the 10th lap in, and I blame him.
Oh, it's good, but
thank you.
But like, conditions are worse today than...
Yeah, far worse.
Yeah. Because as much as I don't think it's sort of grubby underfoot, but it really just saps it out your feet, right? Like
massively. Even the tarmac bit on that final stretch of the top car park. Yeah. After lap 3, that wasn't tarmac anymore. It was just squelch.
So you not made it muddy?
Even then, it was just that was tough. Really tough that bit.
But it's good. But that was the the plan then. So
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, fantastic.
Ultra was the plan.
Yeah.
So happy to do it up at 9, push for another one. So yeah, really.
Yeah, bonus lap.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it.
You got other things planned for the year, like elsewhere and things, or?
High rocks, got a few half marathons as well. Got the Great North Run later in the year. So yeah.
Yeah, High Rocks in Barcelona, slight different vibe to, to the weather today.
Yeah. So I don't know if you saw the Spanish guy, but he's come from Barcelona over here to then come around here.
Fantastic.
At least he got the traditional English weather.
Yeah, that's what
full experience.
That's what I said to him. So it's good.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Welcome to episode 23 of the Trail Times podcast. A little bit of a different start there. I thought we'd just go straight into the videos that I took at the Badger Challenge that happened on Friday, the 27th, of February. I'm recording this on the Saturday evening afterwards, having got home, processed the results, got the results out, got all the photos out, and sort of recapping on what was a really good day. As you can sort of tell from quite a few of those videos, and if you've looked at any of the photos as well, weather was pretty bad all day. It's really frustrating. I know it's the one thing that I can't control, and that obviously no one can control, but it does make such a big impact on the day. However, when we've got absolute heroes with us running and volunteering and being involved, they just get on with it. To be honest, it's me that has the biggest issue with it, I think. But when it's nice sunny days, it just lifts everybody. But it sort of gives a bit of obviously being a bit dramatic, but sort of like a bit of a blitz spirit to these things. When it's raining, conditions are tough, everybody just wants to crack on, which gives a different angle to it. But it would be nice to do some in the sun when you don't need to have that sort of dig deep attitude. So we heard from a few people there. Obviously, brilliant to see Alicia with the dog, Taru, I want to say. I'm not going to pronounce that right. But her dog is I believe, a German Shepherd that is white. But obviously wasn't in that video. It just gets absolutely filthy. But it's such a nice, calm, well-mannered dog. But she's quite little and the dog's quite big, so the dog sort of pulls her. It's brilliant to watch. Alicia's been coming not that long. I'm pretty sure. She did some events last year as well, but she started coming properly sort of like the back end of last year, and she's come to quite a few events so far this year as well, and it's just absolutely brilliant. Always happy, always smiling. Like the dog is such a sort of draw. You just can't help but be impressed by this amazing dog, and everybody has the same thought of, oh my god, how is that dog ever going to be clean? But it's just, it's great to see her at the events, and it's great to see the dog running really, really well. We only had 2 canicrosses in the end. I think in the video I said we had a few dogs. We had a few dogs, few canicrossers signed up, but only 2 turned up on the day. I think when the weather's bad and things like that, I think it's a case of I'll leave the dog at home and I'll come and run instead, which is absolutely fine. For these events, for the 6-hour events, doesn't make any difference. Everybody's on the same start list. It's absolutely fine. I was speaking to somebody. It's a park that's very popular with dogs and dog walkers, and somebody was interested in coming along, and I was explaining how it all works, and hopefully we'll see them at another one as well. With the 10k events in the evening, we have the dog start 10 minutes earlier, so it does matter whether you come with the dog or not for that, because I have a whole different set of results and start lists for those, just because we have more dogs. So if we have 10 or 15 or 20 dogs starting with us during the day, then we'd probably do 2 starts for that as well, but it's not happening. I don't see it happening anytime soon. But with the 10k and everybody's going sort of quick from the start, having 2 start lines is just the easier way of doing it. But great to see Alicia there. Also chatting with Dan and Tom as well. They did great. And the fact that Dan, I think it was, saying in the video that he had gone further than he'd planned to, further than he did last year. Pretty good going. He really must be in a much better state, because conditions were not great. They were much better last year. Obviously, it's rained every day this year, apart from this week where it's actually been quite nice, apart from on the day of the event. But it means that the ground is just absolutely saturated. So we had heavy rain overnight, we had drizzle all day, which then went into quite heavy rain sort of at lunchtime as well. So underfoot, it's just very grimy. And Beacon Hill is, as it sounds, a big hill, and so when it rains, the water just falls and finds rivers effectively, and so the path, the mile-long path up to the beacon was just a mile-long river with the water just coming down, and then even on the downhill, the water sort of coming off sort of one of the sides of the hill, just coming across the path, making rivers, and what was grubby then becomes sort of thicker, sloppier mud. So it's not a day for PBs. That said, we do have a new course record there now. I'll get my names right. Ben set a new course record there. He would have set a distance record, but he's beaten the new time. So he set a new time of 6 hours and 22 seconds, but he definitely would have carried on going if he'd have got back in within those 22 seconds. He was really gutted to not be able to go out and do another lap. But in the clip at the beginning, I was very good, because I said they looked like they were running at half marathon pace, and Ben, who was leading at the time, he did stop at half marathon because he had to get to work, which again, another selling point of these events. But he looked like he was sort of not on the edge, but he looked like he was putting a half marathon effort in, regardless of the pace, which was, pretty high. He still looked like he was putting a half marathon effort in. I don't think he could have maintained that effort, and he didn't think he could maintain that effort for the whole 6 hours. I mean, he did a half in 1:35, which is pretty good going, when I think that would give you about 500 feet of elevation. A lot of elevation. I'm not sure on exact numbers. Maybe 1,000 feet of elevation. I think it's about like just over 2,000 feet of elevation for the marathon. So obviously it's like 1,000 feet for the half marathon. But yeah, Ben was running with him, but just behind, maybe, I don't know, a minute behind at sort of halfway at the half marathon point. And he looked comfortable, didn't look like he was struggling, but he looked like he was sort of pushing it. But he kept doing that for the whole time. So a very, very impressive run. So well done, Ben. I will update the course records, and you'll be newly crowned on that list. So cracking work. Obviously, our events aren't about the people that go the quickest all the time. Hats off to Ben. But it's about everybody else doing what they want to do. Lots and lots of stories. It was brilliant to be joined by Gironi again. So Gironi lives in Barcelona, where it isn't raining and 6 degrees. And essentially, he came and ran in one of our events at Daventry. And I can't remember. I don't know if I was doing the podcast at that point, so I might not have mentioned this. So he'd come over from Barcelona. He's trying to get into, I think he's trying to run 100 marathons, but he wasn't familiar with the 100 Marathon Club, because I think it's quite a British thing. I don't think they've got them all around the world. There's probably other ones, but I don't think there's one in Spain. Anyway, he's trying to run 100 marathons. And he comes to the UK, finds a run to do, spends the weekend in a city, and that's what they do. So he was really, coming from Barcelona to Daventry, or Barcelona to just outside Loughborough, isn't something you'd normally do unless you had another reason to do it. So his wife comes along. I think she goes and sits in the cafe for most of the time and comes out and sees him go past, especially on a day like Friday. But it's brilliant, and he's such a nice man. And so he came and ran around Loughborough, near Loughborough at Beacon Hill, and then they was going to spend the weekend in Nottingham and seeing what there was in Nottingham. So it's a really, really just nice way of exploring a country and making a weekend of it, when he can fit our events in. So hopefully we'll see him again later in the year or next year. I don't know which ones he'll come to, but he's absolutely top bloke. So it's really nice to see him, and that's who I was mentioning when I was speaking to Dan and Tom. And speaking of Dan, I noticed in full disclosure, I didn't do loads of the timing and calling out. I got Elaine to do a lot of that for me, which means I can just wander around and chat, which is very, very helpful for me, especially when I know that the timing's working and everything's going well. But I kept speaking to people, and everyone was called Dan. I thought, this is a bit weird. And we had 7 Daniels running with us, and also seven Andrews, which, fine, not massive numbers, but that's nearly 15% of the people are either called Daniel or Andrew, which is a little bit strange. So just something that I noticed. But on that as well, the reason we might have had more Daniel and Andrews is because, unlike in the last event where we had something like a 65%, 35% split of female male, it was essentially switched on its head this time round, and we had 60% male and 40% female. No idea why. Don't know if there's a reason to it at all. Obviously, if you were to look at these numbers statistically, they aren't big enough samples to be actually relevant, really, but it is quite a big swing. We normally are in the 50-50 bracket, like very, very, very close. So to have such a big swing last time and then such a big swing this time is a bit strange. I don't know how we're set up for the next one. I'm going to take a punt. It's going to get closer to 50-50. In terms of the stats for the event, so I've been through and had a little look, and we had lots and lots of first-time Big Bear event people, first-time marathon runners, first-time 6-hour event runners, lots of people that were essentially new to it, whether it be us or the whole sort of concept. And it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. It's just, I've said before, for a business to work, you've got to keep feeding new people in. You can't just rely on people that have done it before. So it's brilliant in terms of a business, but they're fresh. They sort of bring a different outlook to things. It means that you've got to be on your feet a little bit more because you've got to explain things a little bit more because they haven't done it 10 times. I don't need to tell Brian how the events work. He's done them 70 times. If he's not got it by now, he's never going to get it. So it's very different when somebody is completely new to it. They've only ever done park run or their local city 10k or whatever it is. This is different, right? These things are different, and sometimes it's good to essentially remember that as an organizer, that you do need to explain bits, and it's not obvious. It's obvious once you've been told, but if you've not been told, it's not obvious, right? It is a bit of a weird thing. If you've only ever done parkrun and one city 10k, when you see the cheese and Marmite crackers coming out, that doesn't make any sense to you because you don't know what that's about. So it's just really, really good. And there are a few people that leapt out, I guess. So we had Katie and Dan that were running with us, and they were just so full of beans, really. I can't think where they travelled from, somewhere up north, but they travelled quite a long way. They'd come down, they just wanted to do it, and they wanted to run, and they just wanted to see what was going on, and they did the furthest they'd ever run. I think they'd only ever done 10k, and they did 10 miles, and it was brilliant. And to be honest, if this event was in May, 18 degrees, slightly overcast, perfect weather, I'm pretty sure they'd have gone out and done another lap or two. But it's very, very difficult when the weather's awful, it's pretty sloppy underfoot, to encourage people to go out and do that extra lap because, being at home in the warm sort of beats going around again. So I completely understand that, and it's completely fine. But hopefully we'll see them back, and hopefully we can just eke another lap, and then another lap, and then another lap, and that'll be great to see. And it's really nice because you can sort of become like a bit of a miserable old man about these things, and you see people coming in just so, like I say, full of beans. I can't think of a better expression really, but just full of beans, loving it, really enjoying it, and it just makes it really nice. It's really nice to get that happening more and more, and as people come in that are new to Big Bear, that's what we start to get. And we also had George coming in, who was or is a student from Loughborough Uni, and he was doing it before his lectures. things have changed since I was at university. But he'd come to Rugby for his lectures, and he did his first ever marathon. I think he did it in something like 3:45, which is pretty rapid. Again, on that course, to do that when he had some Adidas on, and he was like Bambi on ice. So yes, conditions weren't great, but he was the only one that every time he came back to the aid station, he was all over. It was like he was skating. It was almost like he was sort of doing a clown routine of sort of slipping around on stage. And every single time he came back, he was slipping and sliding all over the place. But again, just the enthusiasm, and he'd sort of essentially picked up little trail buddies as he'd been going along, and everyone was so keen to see him finish, because you could just tell that he was new and fresh, and it's just really nice for everybody else around it to see as well. If you're just running around people that have done 30, 40, 50, 60 marathons and whatever, or loads and loads of events, it just becomes a little bit stale's not the right word, but we'll go with that. But when you then see these people coming in and they're so keen, and he's putting the effort in, he's running hard, and he's doing really, really well, it is contagious. Like, it's just really nice. It just picks everybody up, and it's great to see. And there are loads of stories like that, and I never ever get all of them. I chat to people on the day, but I don't want to put cameras in front of them, because if you start having a really, really good conversation with somebody and then you're like, oh, can we repeat that for the camera? It's not as genuine, and I much rather have those conversations with the people on the day than sort of completely stage them. But I did get a few videos which are, as is the recurring theme on these, I'm not great at getting them on the day. But it was good to chat to lots of people, and it was just a great day. A really, really good day. Real good effort from everybody, lots of running. I think so now I've started collating data on each of the events. This is the event with the highest average distances, which, considering it's the toughest course of the year so far compared to Ryton Pools and compared to Daventry Country Park, the average distance was 2 miles extra than the other two events. And the average, or the mid-placed number of laps, was a marathon, which means that the majority of people did marathons, which is pretty incredible. So it's really good. There's lots of effort that people put in, which is cool. And what was a personal little highlight for me as well was when we got there and the event started seeing a few groups of people running pretty quick. And not with us, who were just sort of out in the park. And I spotted Sophie Caldwell, Sophie Evans now, who is a GB triathlete. And I know that she lives locally, because I know that the GB triathlon squad train at Loughborough. And I've seen on her Instagram that she's run at Beacon Hill for training before. So I know that they're, roughly in the area. But there must have been 4 or 5 sort of squads of people out running, some with GB kit on. So I don't know if it was, I as a laps triathlete, I remember watching Sophie when she first started doing triathlon, going back quite a while now, I guess. I'm not up to date with the young crop of British triathletes that are out now. So I don't know if these are people that are also on the world stage, or if they were just people from Loughborough that can run very fast, but they were going out training quite clearly together. So that was quite cool to see people doing that. As I say, I know Sophie Caldwell as the triathlete, but she is also the wife of Tom Evans, the UTMB champion. So it's just really cool to see people out running really, really fast. And as that venue is right next to Loughborough Uni, it is somewhat frustrating to not get more students come and do the events we do there. Last year at the Bat Challenge, there were a couple of students running, and then we had more people watching from the uni that just sat on the benches eating pizzas, which I absolutely loved and thought was brilliant. And when I was a student, I remember doing a 10k, but we're going back a long time before running was a lot more mainstream like it is now. But I remember doing the Aberystwyth 10k, but very few people from the uni did that, and that was always sort of seen as a bit weird. And I fully appreciate, as a student, you don't really have the money to spend out on running around a park. You probably want to spend that on other things. So, you know, it's not a complaint, but it'd be really cool to try and get some of the really fast kids and people that are using Loughborough as a training centre to come and run in some of the events and just lay down some amazing times. And obviously it wouldn't be A races. I'm not expecting someone to plan their whole professional career around the Badger Challenge, but we can support them as they do their long runs for the week, and we can have the stuff out for them. It's just something a bit different. I'm sure training gets quite repetitive when you're that good. But yeah, that was quite a highlight. That was quite good. But that was the Badger Challenge. So that's event 123. We are going to move on to 124 and 125 at the end of March. So we will be at Saucy Forest for the Elephant Challenge and the Petzl Night Trails 10k. I'm just going to quickly look now to see what the up-to-date numbers are on what we've got for those events. So we have got about 20 places left for the Elephant Challenge. I'd expect that to sell out. That's a little bit lower than maybe a month out should be, but it's always really popular there. People will be looking probably to get their last long runs in before Manchester and London and Brighton and the other million marathons that are on during April. So I expect that one to get busier. So if you're watching this, you've got this far, sign up if you haven't already. The Petzl Night Trails 10k, there are 15 places left for that. So I do expect that to sell out because 10Ks people enter much closer to the time. So that's the last night 10K of this winter. So we won't have any until we then get back in September, well, late September or maybe early October when we go back to Coombe. Well, sorry, late September, 30th of September will be our first 10K that we do in the dark. So if you want to come and join us for that, come and join us for that. We've got lots of events coming up. So we've got those 2 at the end of March, and then there are 2 in April as well. The Mallard Challenge, which I think I'd cleverly hidden on the website, which is really great advertising. That's a good lesson for me there. So that is now fully visible. So that's at Kingsbury Water Park, and then we're going to our new venue at Pooley Country Park, which is sort of Tamworth way. That's the Dragonfly Challenge, and that is on the Wednesday, the 29th of April. So that is after London, Brighton, Manchester, whatever, the majority of marathons. So that's after then. I appreciate the Mallard Challenge is smack bang in the middle of marathon season. But hopefully people will use it as a last little spin out. If they're not doing the other marathons, it's good to get one in when you're not doing other things. If you're doing other distances, brilliant. If you're doing longer stuff in the summer, come and run and we'll look after you there as well. And then obviously we've got all of the other events that are coming up. So yeah, that is what we're up to. I'm trying to find a nutrition partner, which is the slightly stupid terminology for somebody that is going to give us some gels and some electrolyte, or at least work with us to do something around that. So if you know of anybody, if you're a sponsored athlete from anybody, or you have any sort of ties into any brands that might want to do that, then let me know. At the Elephant Challenge, actually, on that, we are going to be joined by Ultra again, who will have their trainers with them that you can try. Go and run a lap, see how you get on. It's a brilliant setup, that. So you can try them in the wild, on the trail, see how you get on. And we're also going to be joined by Mari, which is a sports bra brand. And you can try those and you can go for a run in them as well. So we are sort of asking people not to do a 5k lap in them, but you can go and run around the car park. You can actually run in them rather than just jumping up and down in a changing rooms. So that is going to be the first time we've done it with a sports bra brand. Hopefully it's not absolutely freezing cold, because you probably won't want to get changed into them. But we'll have a marquee up, we'll have sides on the marquee, sorry, not marquee, gazebo. We'll have a gazebo up, we'll have sides on the gazebo. I've told them to bring a dry robe as well, so that you've got something to change into, but we'll try and make it as private as possible. Well, we will make it as private as possible, warm as possible as well, but I can't control the weather. But that's something different that we're going to be trying to do as well. And if you know of any other startup brands or anybody that's involved in running that wants to do something around this, let me know, because I'm always willing to try things, right? We've done things in the past. None of them haven't worked. Some have worked better than others. But it's just about trying to do things for the runners that you will benefit from. That is the key to it. I don't think my events are ever going to be big enough where I can demand a massive fee for any of these things. So I want to do these things so that you, the runner, the walker, whatever it is, you can benefit and you get something different from my events than you would do from other people putting on similar things. So that's all happening at the Elephant Challenge. And even if you're not signed up for it, although if you've got this far through the recording, I think you might be signed up for it. But if you're not signed up for it, you can just come along during your lunch break or whatever and come and try the stuff out. So that's the Elephant Challenge. That is the 10K coming up as well. I personally will be at 100 Hills 50K with Centurion in 2 weeks' time. That's getting close. So I'll be sort of semi-race directing down there. I'll be out on course. So if you're running there, do say hello. Hopefully the car parking will be fine, because it's always good fun parking the cars on grass in March. So that'll be good fun. In terms of other running stuff, my running is few and far between. In terms of races, I do go out running 2 or 3 times a week, but only short stuff generally. I tend to run while my kids are doing athletics, and then I might get another run in as well. My daughter is going to be, she's very good at cross country, so she will be at, we've got one more rugby qualifier that she needs to get into county, and then hopefully she'll do well at county and then get into nationals. Nationals schools cross country is at Stoneleigh, which, if you're watching this, you probably know where that is. That's near Leamington, which is brilliant because it's half hour for us. Whereas for, it's a national competition. People are coming from the lakes, for coming from Cornwall. I think they go to Scotland. I think it might be England and Scotland and Wales, I think. But they travel a long, long way. And ours is half hour away, which is excellent. But the standard at those national cross countries is incredibly high. So she won't place there, but she'll do really well. Hopefully, he says. But yeah, so that's what my running is for the foreseeable. I'll try and get out. I'll go and do a bit of running, but I'm mainly sort of going to the gym because that just fits in with what I'm doing at the moment. But I realised that when I first started doing this, I was giving updates on my training for Trans Gran Canaria that's happening now, I think, or maybe next weekend. But I've not got anything big booked in or anything pretty like that. So my training updates are running around Rugby Town Centre in the dark, which isn't exactly fun, which is why I've not really mentioned it. So I'll stop waffling. Thank you very much if you came to the Badger Challenge. Thank you. If you like these, please tell people to watch them. Click like on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. It all helps. And hopefully I will see you in person at a Big Bear event soon.